Good afternoon, fellow Kenyans, and we welcome you to once again we welcome you to the show Kivumbi, coming to you live from Kisumu City, and we are on the shores of Lake Victoria. To be precise, we are around Dunga Beach in Kisumu. Kivumbi is a show that gives common mwananchi opportunity to discuss topical issues that affect topical issues that touch on the common mwananchi down in their respective areas. In Swahili we say siasa za mwananchi wa kawaida mashinani. We are lucky this afternoon to have Bishop Charles Kokombo and Wakili Seth Okumu, who will be part of the panel this afternoon. As usual, Kivumbi discusses normal issues about governance, state of the nation, and topical issues that touch on the common mwananchi. And I will give the first chance to the Bishop to kindly introduce yourself, then we will bring the topic. We'll start with you, Bishop, then briefly, Seth.
Thank you so much, Wycliffe, and for inviting us to come here to Kivumbi. I am Bishop Charles Kokombo. Charles Kokombo is one of the national leaders of the Full Gospel Churches of Kenya here in the Republic, a big church. And so normally as a bishop, I'm in touch with the common men because we deal with people who are at the lowest cadre of the society. And so it is a privilege that I'm here today to talk some of the things that I hear their minds are saying. And thank you so much for inviting me to this show.
Much appreciated, Bishop, and we appreciate taking time to be part of Kivumbi, and I hope that the debate will be good. Seth Okumu, Wakili, and also a youth leader in some quarters. Yes. That self-introduction will really help our viewers to know who is on the show this afternoon.
Thank you, Wycliffe. My name is Okumu Seth. I'm a lawyer by profession. I am also an aspiring candidate for the UDA Youth Representative seat within Kisumu. Having been in politics for some time, and also within the legal field that we work, we get to interact with people daily. We get to talk with people across all cadres, be they the youth, general population, and even the marginalized sections. So politics is something we discuss daily, and we are always striving to look for solutions that would be able to help our people in areas around governance.
Quite a rich panel, and both have mentioned that they touch on their daily activities as a clergy and also as a lawyer. They involve the common mwananchi. Looking at Kenya, looking at the politics that is going on in the country presently, it is getting so heated, both in government and in the opposition. One will ask, is it time for politics? Is it too early? Maybe let's start with you on this. Now that you have the political bug in you, is it too early for people to start thinking of 2027?
Thank you very much, Wycliffe. I think when we discuss politics, I do not think there is any moment that we can say that politics should cease. Politics is an everyday thing. Even as you leave your house, man is a political creature. Even as you leave your house, you're debating, should I wear this? Should I not wear this? Should I go to this place? Should I not go to that place? So politics is an everyday thing. What we should really be looking at is the limit to which we want to take that political discourse direction. You remember we had our last election in 2022.
Just 1.5 years.
1.5 years ago. This is 2024. And I think the President of the Republic of Kenya and some of our senior most leaders have been on record saying that this is not time to politic. We should focus and work for our people. So to an extent, I think our elected leaders should be able to work. When they were being sworn in Parliament, when they were being sworn in as cabinet secretaries, one of the components of their oath is that you're supposed to be serving Kenyans. And as such, it's not very much possible to be serving Kenyans at the same time politicking. But also you remember that all politics is local. So perhaps at the local level, you might find there's that jostling for space.
It is quite heated.
Yes, very heated. So one says this, one says this. Nyanza as a region, the Luo Nation as a region has the local politics. You go to other regions, there are those political conversations that go on. But by and large, I think that after an election, there should be a period of time that our elected leaders are able to concentrate and work for the people.
Seth has stated it clearly that, okay, it is normal for a human being to politic throughout. But Your Grace, just a few months after the national elections, now people are now already discussing 2027 election. Is it too early if you were to guide as a man of God?
The church is not happy at what is happening, Wycliffe, because when we touch base with common men, especially those who need the services of the government and the service of the opposition, we see that they have gone offline. Because in the camp, in the ruling party camp, we can see that people are divided. There's a team that says that 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. Another team says 1 man, 1 vote, 1 kilometer. And so when we are looking at this, we see that there is some little confusion. And the confusions that we see derails development, which the common mwananchi is expecting at this time. In the opposition also, we can see they are busy with the chairs. They are looking who shall be great in the next dispensation. And in our honest view, we see that their role of oversight is being overtaken when they go along looking for seats and leaving their core mandate as opposition. So as a clergy, I feel that these people are doing a big disservice to the nation. They should have thought the government to deliver on the mandate that the people gave them, so that we can see development going on without seeing a divided house. And on the other side, we can see that the opposition also has missed her point. They should become sober and work for common men before they think about high-level politics, where people are now thinking about seats and leaving the services that they should deliver to people. Now, in my very honest opinion, I think that these people should sober up so that we see people delivering on their intended purposes. As a clergy, I can advise the executive to desist from politics. And now, not that very high politics, though it is an everyday thing, but they need to know when is best for hyper or high politics. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Askofu is saying that somehow there's time for everything. But when we say that there is time for everything, you know, times we are witnessing situations, for instance, in the counties, you will think that the governorship slot or the governor's seat will be filled tomorrow. You know, are you worried, maybe as a voter, or are you worried as a professional, that nothing is happening while people all over are looking for the next position to occupy? Is it worrying? Like, it is not only a national thing. In the counties, in the wards, in the constituencies, now every leader is like, I have an opponent. You are an MP, there's somebody who will vie for that position who is really pushing. A governor, you know, is it normal? Is it something that is worrying you?
Thank you, Wycliffe. I think the only way and the best way that any elected leader would prove that they are worth their salt is by delivering for their people. Because in this jostling for space, in these early campaigns that we see, what the people want most are tangible deliverables. Have they built schools for us? Have they built roads for us? Do we have bursaries? So as an elected leader, it behooves you to do that duty which you sought to do to the people. So even if there are other people who are coming and then they need your position as an MCA, they need your position as a senator, or even your position as a governor, what is going to put you head and shoulders above all these people is that you're delivering for your people. So that come election time, people are going to vote you back based on what you did. I think it is just some of our elected leaders being lazy with the responsibility they are given. And so rather than work for their people, they go back to that cocoon of politicking and making baseless claims that, oh, this is not working, so and so is calling me names. If you work for your people, if you deliver for your people, I see no point at all in getting worried or going out there and campaigning. You see, the sad thing that we have, and I think we also need to talk about it, is the kind of political parties that we have as regions. So you find that within Nyanza region, the dominant political party would be ODM. Even the county assemblies are dominated by ODM members. Oversight within county assemblies is provided by the MCAs. And then they're supposed to keep the government of the day on toes. But if you have a governor and they're not performing their duty, and yet you are an elected leader and you're sitting in the county assembly, I don't think it would be wise if another leader who is not elected came and told people that I want you to elect me for this position because I'm going to do that which your elected MCA is not doing, because clearly you're not doing your work. As an elected leader, you're supposed to provide oversight. If you're not doing that, and someone who believes that they can deliver that comes to your political arena and tells people this is what I will do, is indeed the same elected leaders who are opening all these battlefronts.
So the elected leaders are somehow to blame. They have also begun the very campaigns while they are not serving the people.
Not at all. They're not serving.
They are supposed to. So, Bishop, you know, the same question. Is it, you're seeing governors' slots, people are already declaring position. I'm an MCA already declaring that I'm going for the governor's seat. An MP somewhere wants to be the senator. You know, what do you read of that? Well, you know, how do you feel when you see such campaigns going on?
These people are not doing the right thing. They are doing a big disservice to the people who elected them. They have not delivered. They have not done any development, tangible development that can be seen and which people can say that this is what they did when they were MCA or when they are MP, when they are senator or governor, and now they are looking for higher positions. How do we know as the citizens that they can deliver on those high positions if they never delivered on the smaller ones that they were given? So in my honest opinion, I would advise these people that they should go back, deliver to the people who elected them before they come out to campaign and look for these higher positions that they are looking for. Now, the common men have a way of also looking at these people, and the common men will give them a lesson when the time comes. Because the common men are keen to see, are these people doing the promises? Because they made a lot of promises. They talked to the people. They went round. They were looking for votes, and they gave a lot of promises of deliverables that people were waiting for. But now, people are not able to see what these people promised. I would honestly advise our local leaders that they need to go back, check, look at their list and check if they have delivered on what they promised the people before they ask for those higher positions. The people would be hooligans and fools to just elect people who never delivered on the promises they gave, and they continue to look for those higher offices. My vote should not go to such a leader if they are looking for it. So in my talk as a person who sits with the common man, what we need is not much politicking. We know people who are able to deliver. Let them go out, work for the common man before they come back to ask us for more votes. But on the other hand, we also realize that you cannot become a leader without showing your desire to be a leader. So these people who say that they can do better, people also know them. And when they talk, we see and say, so and so can do because he has a track record of doing good. But those who are not able to do good, we are checking and we know these people will not deliver, even if they replaced the person who is not working. And when the time comes, we shall make the right choices.
Thank you, Askofu. And I'll pose this question still to you. We are calling on duty. The leaders have their duty. We have those who are in government who should deliver. We have those who are in the opposition who should check on government. You know, I'm worried, looking at Kenya, it's like we have no opposition. There is no alternative voice presently. There seems to be a partnership, a slow or a smart partnership between the government and opposition. Come to the counties, the MCAs, sorry to call them the choir members, they sing what the governor wants to hear. You know, where does it leave the common mwananchi?
These are the wrong people to be in those respective offices, because they need to be representatives of the people. A people's representative would do what the electorates would want from them. But when it comes to people going to sideline or going to come together into consensus with the people that they should be checking, I have a problem with that. And the common men also have a problem with that. Because when people in government and opposition come together to work, which may be good if it is on the right trajectory, but can also be very disastrous because nobody would offer any check and balance for a people who are in power. So I tend to think that it is good to be on the opposition, and the opposition should continue on their track, and the trail of the things that they've been helping should continue the same. But if we are going to have an opposition that colludes with the government at night and during the day they speak as opposition, then this is very wrong. In my honest opinion, they should take up their role so that the government is kept on check for delivery to be seen by everybody.
Touch on the choir members, the MCAs, you know.
The MCAs must gauge up. We know that some of them are looking for what I don't want to mention here. But we know what they're looking for by them becoming a choir member. And this calls for our regional politics to be scaled. Because if we are going to have one party in the assembly at some assembly in the Republic, county assembly in the Republic, it means that we are not going to deliver. Then we should give room as the people who are electing these people, that if a person has an idea, he may not belong to a party that I love. We need to elect those people to represent us because they will be the true representatives of the people, so to mention. And then they shall not become choir members because they understand their mandate. They understand that they should represent the people. So this issue of this region belonging to this, I don't support it. Thank you.
A very sharp message and a very detailed message from the Askofu. Wakili, you are the first to mention like the oversight role that MCS should be doing. And now we have a situation even nationally, you know, the opposition. I know you have some attachment to government, but how do you feel when the opposition is not working? And when you come to the counties also, we have, allow me to call them choir members. Some I know will react harshly, but we just have a bandwagon of choir members in Homa Bay. You might have choir members. Kisumu, you might have the cathedral choir members. Go to Siaya, you might get the best choir members. You know, where does the common man run to?
First of all, Wycliffe, for me, I believe that we should have a robust, we should have a strong opposition. One of the things that the president stated earlier on when he was beginning his term was that he needed a strong opposition to keep the government in check. The benefits of having a strong opposition is that any time the government wants to go astray, any time the government wants to implement programs that would then be of no benefit to the people, then the opposition should rise up and counter that in parliament. That is where opposition politics is played, the oversight role. But then historically, we'll also remember where Kenya comes from, that everybody wants to be in government, that even the loser would wants to be in government using other nefarious ways. Matter this has happened, matter that has happened. So it becomes a problem then. So what needs to be done is that the opposition, the minority in the House, led by MP Opiyo Wandayi, they should just play their role. It's that simple. If you are the minority in the House, anytime a bill is brought in the House and you feel that bill is not going to be of any benefit to the people, raise your points in Parliament, talk in Parliament, lobby other members, so then that it is seen that you are doing that opposition role. But going behind your people, your party leader, and asking to be included in trips to foreign countries, trips to foreign countries, and then coming back and telling us that this did not happen or what. And Wycliffe, at this point, I think it should be important to differentiate, distinct between working with government and playing that oversight role. You can work with government as an opposition member. That does not necessarily prevent you from playing your oversight role. Because you remember, everybody, even those in the opposition, belong to government. We have one government. We don't have separate governments. So you can play your role as an opposition member of parliament, but even as you do that, you can keep the government in check. We see it in the Britain, we see it done in the America, we see it in several countries where the opposition does their job, the government is kept in check. When you come to the devolved units, I do not know how we are going to address that problem. I don't know how we will work with counties. But I believe where the largest problem lies is having a dominant political party. And then you will remember, you might be afraid to say it, but you know the MCAs, what they're looking for, what the bishop said. Tickets. People are looking for nomination tickets. And the only way they can get those nomination tickets is not by providing oversight. It is by being choir members. So and so is loyal. So and so is loyal. And then it becomes that the test for being elected an MCA is based on loyalty not to the needs of the people, but to the needs of the party. So you find our people are so disillusioned, they are so unhappy, and there is no development taking place. 15% of the revenue that is collected nationally is devolved to counties. So the very first port of call for every citizen should be within the county government. You have seen even the response to floods within this region. The national government has done much more than the county governments did. And yet 2% of the budget that is allocated to the county governments is supposed to be used to what? Disaster preparedness. So this would also be a clarion call to our people, that as we go into elections, you may not love a political party. That is your right enshrined in the Constitution. But vote for the person. Do not vote for a party. Vote for the person who carries the flag of that party. Vote for people who are going to deliver. Vote for people who are going to ensure that resources are allocated to people. Those resources work towards the benefit of the people. When we do that, you will find that there is a difference within the development that is going on within this region.
Mm-hmm. I know there's much coming out of this debate. Some of the topics, like those who went to the US, you know, do they owe Kenyans like an explanation, whether it's Wandai, whether it's the president himself, you know, the delegation that went to the US, do they have questions to answer Kenyans, like the cost of everything and what came back, what you came back with?
Thank you. I tend to feel that these people, the whole delegation that was led by the president as they went to the US, they need to tell us, because we can hear, but they need to tell us exactly what took place, what they have brought back to this country, because it was a big delegation. Many people boarded the hired flight and they went to the US so that they could bring development back to the people. We want to see what were they able to deliver on when they went there. What did they bring back with them? And they need to explain, because taxpayers' money has been used in their travels, I believe in their accommodation and the other things that they did. And these were many people. So they need to tell us, because we can see that back at home here, we have a lot of floods which raved part of our land, and people have been displaced. Some people have been removed from the riparian land, the perceived riparian land that they were staying at. And many others also have remained homeless. So we want to see the government coming back with solutions. When they go out, did they go to benchmark? What exactly? Or are they just taking our police force to go and fight Haiti and help the Haiti people to have peace, when at home we don't have that peace? So with all this, I think they owe Kenyans. All the people who went to the trip, they owe Kenyans. We need to know why and what they have brought for us as Kenyans.
Just one line, Wakili. Do they owe Kenyans answers? Like, even Wandai himself, not only Wandai went, we had the delegation, the bloggers, the team. Before we get to the big man about the jet and everything, can everybody tell Kenyans what they went to do to the US and what they came back with?
I think a delegation does not, you do not look at what the individual does, but what is done collectively, because it is a group. So people do different roles, but then we look at the collective effort. So for me, I think those within other quarters who also travel with the president should tell Kenyans what they did, because I think the president has been clear on what he did during that trip and the benefits that have accrued to Kenyans from that particular trip to the United States of America.
So the rest of the people, please, Kenyans.
Oh yes, the opposition should tell us. Perhaps they went to benchmark on opposition politics that is played in the United States. They should let us know. Yes.
So if you went to the US and you're watching, know that Kenyans are waiting for answers, and you will tell us, if I meet you, if you meet Dan, or if you meet Wakili, you'll have to tell us what you went to do to the US. Maybe let's come back home to Kenya. We have seen meetings happening, regional, I don't want to call them tribal meetings, but they are somehow, let me put it as regional. The Mount Kenya region has started, has again had their third meeting. They are calling it Limuru 3. Around Nyanza, Mulembe Nation yesterday, leaders around somewhere were calling for the Luya unity. Luo Nyanza, to some extent, you know, there are silent waters running that, okay, there needs to be professional meetings, you know, dialogue of the Luo community. Let me start from the clergy. As a church, what are you reading in all this? Is it the right way the country is going? Are we dividing the country, or we are uniting first as regions so that we build a country? You know.
Now, one, these regional block meetings have been there from time immemorial. I can say that even from pre-colonial era, they have been there. And then after we became independent states, they also existed. And they inform how people birth political parties. And this has been seen because after their meeting, we can see political parties being birthed. And number two, we cannot totally evade regional block meetings because they come home to talk matters which are pertaining to their regions. But when we hold regional meetings and we start talking about elective politics nationally, and we start saying who is right and who may be wrong, I think that is how we get it wrong. Because currently we have the government that is on the governance seat, and we have people who should be on the opposition seat to offer oversight role. Now, when we see them regrouping and they are not talking about their regions in a manner that would benefit their people, I have a problem with that, a big problem. Because I wonder how development comes with the people sitting somewhere when it is still 3 or more years to election. We should wait for the right time so that when we regroup and look for this so-called power, then we can say authoritatively that this is what we have come out with. For me, it is too early for these people to regroup. And these people should rethink their stand. This time, what does the common man need? Is it those high, intensive, powered political meetings? Or is it food? Because some people don't even have food to come to the very basic of what the people may need. So it may be too early. They are creating or bringing eyebrows to come up on matters that are still too early. So let these people reconsider. And again, the question is, are these people uniting the country or dividing it more along tribal lines? Are these the things that make us to be tribally alienated to the extent that we start thinking about our people and we are in one republic? Thank you.
A big question, Wakili. Are these people uniting the country or they're dividing the country further? All these regional meetings, we have the Mount Kenya region meeting in Limuru. We have those in Luo Nyanza thinking of a meeting somewhere in a corner. You know, the Western leaders always meeting, calling for Luya unity. Yes. You know, are we a country or we come from our regions first?
I think to answer that, we should then look at where we come from. As Bishop said, even historically, there used to be these meetings within certain regions. The Mulembe Nation would meet, the Luo Nation would meet, the Wanga people would meet, and then they would decide that we want so and so to lead our people. So these meetings had been there. What has just changed is the purpose of these meetings. Why are we meeting? If you look at, even from a governor's perspective, we have the Lake Region Economic Bloc, LREB, which is a bloc that champions for development agenda within the Lake Region bloc. If you've had the kind of politics they are playing, I think no one would stand and say that they are playing divisive politics. It is developmental politics. They have an agenda and they are putting their facts straight. This is what we want. So the purpose of a meeting is what we should look at. When you see a leader in the stature of the deputy president advocating for some skewed, ill-advised, and malicious method of distributing resources within the country, then I think that should worry the entire nation. There are positions that when one holds, then you are a national figure. You cannot then go back into that tribal cocoon and whip up emotions amongst your people for certain things that, logically speaking, even constitutionally speaking, are impossibilities. If we are talking about developing regions, it should be across board. How do we develop Kenya? If we are talking about elective politics, it should be across board. How do we elect leaders who are going to work and serve the interest of Kenyans? So then what the ordinary mwananchi should be doing when attending these meetings is that we are going to this meeting, and from this meeting we are going to get the direction that the country is going to take, not a region.
So it should be national.
It should be
dialogue.
national dialogue. And you remember even the Kriegler report, when you look at it, one of the reasons that that greatly led to the 2007 post-election violence was some of these happenings that you see going on, these tribal alignments. And so you find people saying that as we belong to this region, this has not happened to us. Those are from those regions. And yet we are all Kenyans. And yet this state, the right that someone from Mount Kenya has is similar to the right that someone from Nyanza has, is similar to the right that someone from the Western region has. So I think beyond the regional politics, we should be able to remember that we are Kenyans. And each and every one of us belongs to this nation. So then that the meetings and whatever we discuss at that regional level reflect our ethos, reflect our desires as a people of Kenya.
So for those planning those regional meetings, there's this clarion call that please think Kenya first. Please think Kenya first and think deeper, like, are you uniting a country or you are dividing the country further? Now, as we move closer to the end of this show, I know we'll have other episodes coming. There's this big debate about the cost of living, and now we are seeing the budget proposals. In the budget cycle already, there is debate about the taxation, the proposed additional taxation. Seth, I will start with you. You know, you say that there's a way you understand this government.
Yes.
You know, where are we heading? Where is the problem? And, you know, what word or assurance will you give Kenyans that, okay, things are under control? Because everybody's just worried.
Thank you, Wycliffe. When the last census was done, Kenyans were slightly above 50 million in number. The people who pay taxes in Kenya are around 3 million. Only 3 million. And so it is 3 million people who are funding this nation. So then it becomes a problem that there are 47 million people who are not paying taxes. Take away minors, take away people who are not of majority age, people who are not working. Say there are even 25 million, or put them even at 30 million shillings. You still have 17 million people within the informal sector doing other forms of business who are not paying taxes. So the problem is that Kenya has potential to generate more tax, but the population of people who are paying taxes is small. That is one. Secondly, in as much as there's this debate that Kenyans are paying a lot of taxes, comparatively speaking, I do not think that is true. If you take tax to GDP ratio, Kenya is at around 14 or 15%. Let's say 16%. So it means for every 100 shillings, or for every 100%, 16% of that income is what is taxed. So people remain with 84% of that. 84% of that. It will take care of everything else. So if you look at it from that perspective, then you will realize that countries have, like South Africa at 24, 25%. There are countries that have gone as high as 30% within Africa. So 70% you remain with. That is second. Third, you look at the debt burden that Kenya has. Also, you will remember that for every 100 shillings that is collected, around 80 shillings of that goes into repayment of debts. So this 20 shillings has to fuel the development agenda of the country, also the recurrent budget of the country. So you see the point where the government is coming from when they say they need to tax more. If it were that the government is taxing certain regions more and not other regions, then it would be understandable for people to say that it is discriminatory. But if the government, because one of the canons of taxation is that it should be across board. Taxes should be across board, and everybody should be able to bear that burden of tax. When President Ruto came in and the 16% levy on fuel was introduced, there was huge public outcry. But he said, I have a plan. And you will bear me witness that every month the price of petrol has been going down. When he came in, we found unga at around 200 plus shillings. And he said, I have a plan. So rather than introduce subsidies on what is it called? Yes, on that end, on agriculture, we introduced subsidies into production. You see, not consumption. So after a period of time, the price of unga has gone down. So paying taxes is the civic duty of every Kenyan. That is the only way we can grow Kenya. That is the only way Kenya can move forward as a nation. Kenya has been classified as a middle-income country. So it means even the level of aid that we get from other countries has shrunk. But then the inverse is that we are getting a lot of development from other countries. We are getting a lot of foreign FDIs, foreign direct investment, flowing from other countries. What we then need to do is to embrace this new status that Kenya is at the global stage. And we also expand and cast wide the net of bringing more people into the taxpayers' net.
And I mentioned it earlier that when you listen to some of the experts like now, Seth, as you're putting it, you're almost convincing like, okay, it is something that government should do. Askofu, when you meet the congregants every Sunday, you know, we run to church for comfort and everything. You know, what do they say about the whole debate about cost of living? Now mukate is touched. Mukate, you know, the bread. Everybody's worried now.
It is still a proposal.
It's still
yes.
a proposal, but now it is proposed to be touched. So, Askof, where are we, and what will be your word? You've heard the expert put it.
I've heard the expert put it. And I want to say that all over the world, the common man would continue to cry, not only in Kenya, but everywhere. I've traveled a few times outside this country, and I've seen that people continue to cry for the people in governance, that the prices of essential commodities continue to skyrocket. And the same is felt in Kenya. Personally, I don't have a problem with the way people are paying taxes in Kenya, because I see it is still low. It is not high as the other countries that we know in the world. For example, in Denmark, they pay 50% tax. Okay. But now, the problem comes when we are talking of our republic, because the tax that is given, does it come back to the common man? Does it do development in the wanted way? Does the budget follow its course as planned? Now, that is, I think, where the problem comes, because one project can be in, say, Kisumu City, Nairobi, Thika, or Mandera. And year in, year out, we see it stalling. A road in Kisumu County, I know one road that has stalled and nothing is moving on. The national government says it belongs to the county. The county says they don't have the capacity to do such a road.
Please name the road, at least, you know. In Kivumbi, we say it as it is. If it is Dunga, just name it.
The road is the road in Koru, Muhoroni ward. And when I talk about it, the bridge is dilapidated. They know if you walk to Koru Bible College from the main road as you pass through former, the late Minister Uko, you will see a road there that is lying in a pathetic state for years in, year out. And we are wondering, are the representatives of the people seeing what is happening there? And so that is the only thing that worries me as a concerned Kenyan and a person who is a voice to the voiceless. Because when I see such things happening, I'm wondering, now the tax is being given. What comes back to the people? What is something that is tangible that can be seen on the ground? Though in other places, many have been seen to have been done by the government. But then I'm asking, Are they touching the lives of the people that are at the very least cadre of life? So that is the question. But about paying taxes, we cannot sustain our government without paying our taxes. We have to pay tax. This is biblical. We tell people that tax paying is a must. But then it is worrying, like Wakili puts it, that only 3 million out of the over 50 million Kenyans are paying taxes. So
Some 47 million
are hiding somewhere. So it is a clerical call that these people should come so that we support the government, and the government, on the other hand, should also use this tax appropriately so that we are able to see what our tax is doing.
As we promote the use of the taxes appropriately, Seth, I will put a quick question. Do you think, like, if we get the 40 million plus who are not paying taxes to pay taxes, this burden will go down?
Oh, of course, if you get the 40 million to pay taxes, even if one was supposed to pay 1 shilling, you have 40 million more than what we currently have. So one of the things about taxation is that when you broaden your tax base, and then you are then able to reduce the rates of your taxes, because then it's shouldered by more people. So that is one of the reverse effects of having a wide tax base. But then again, just allow me to briefly touch on that Limuru 3. Yeah, the Limuru 3, for most of us who have keenly looked at it, we do not agree with it. It is wrong. If you look at our constitution, the principles of public finance, Article 201, Chapter 12 of the Constitution, it clearly sets out the manner in which public resources are supposed to be allocated across the board.
Across the country.
And then when you go to Article 204, it also talks about an equalization fund. The makers of our Constitution were aware that for a long period of time, the manner in which resources were being distributed in the country was skewed and was discriminatory. And so when they came with the new Constitution, they say that when we are allocating resources, we are not only going to look at population, but we are going to look at the size. A place like Kirinyaga, Turkana County is almost 60 times the size of Kirinyaga. Yes. Kirinyaga can fit into Turkana 60 times.
Northeastern is even like one constituency
Yes,
bigger than Nyanza.
it's bigger than Nyanza. So then the question is, if you want to assign one man, one vote, 1 shilling, then how do we account for an area that is 60 times that size? Because an area 60 times more would need more roads, they would need more schools, they would need the resources are supposed to be more in that area. So for me, I think it is selfish. I think it is not how we build a nation. We are supposed to be statesmen. The needs of the nation at any given point should override the needs of a region or an individual. Or if people find it that it's so bad how we are distributing resources, we can go a federal way. And we decide that with Kisumu, the resources within Kisumu are for Kisumu alone. Mombasa and the port, you go to Lamu and the port, Turkana with the oil wells, they decide that this is our resource and we are going to use it. Because why would you tax me here in Kisumu for the lake, and yet when now it becomes to the distribution of these resources, even someone who has not paid that tax within the Mount Kenya region is going to come and say 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. So let us use the distribution formula that the Constitution has set. Let it be equitable. Let every region get their share of resources. But if we go that path that we want regions to get resources based on the population that they have, I think we are headed towards dangerous waters.
As Kofu, I'll come back to you. Yes. You know, there's this question, you even mentioned it, the issue of 40 million plus Kenyans not paying tax. You know, where you know, this, there's been called to have even tax payment as a lesson in school. Who is to blame? You know, 40 million plus are not paying. Only 3 million people are carrying the country's burden. What can happen at least to help reduce this gap?
I think the government is largely to blame because they have the mechanisms. The government in their governance structure goes down to the common man. They can smoke people out and help them to understand the need why payment of tax is important. And so, whereas we also blame the people, they need to be educated to understand why payment of tax is very important. You know, where people are crowded, like people are talking of 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote situation. We cannot crowd in Kisumu if there are no resources. We only go to crowd in a place where there are resources. You cannot go to crowd in Thika if the industries were not taken to Thika by the government that came after independence. We only go there because there are industries, there are things that we feel if we are there can help us. So if you see these regions which are crowded, I want us to know that people are crowded in those places because the services that they want can be found. A place like Turkana, a place like Moyale, and so, the life there is very hard. No power, no electricity. Even the issue of policy of last mile in terms of electricity, it has not reached some places. I know of schools which have not been reached by electricity, and it is not one. And so, it is a call to the government. People may sabotage some of the things because they don't see the taxes being put to proper use. But I urge them to pay, and on the other hand, we can put the government on toes to do the services as required. Now, this may even cause people rebelling from the government. They are saying, how do we support a government that is not bringing back the services and we give taxes to them? And this is not the way we want to go. People can bring things that we saw existed sometimes back, like resist. And those are not very good things for a country. It would mean that we can bring our government down. People can also say that we don't want the government of the day because they are not using our taxes properly. And you know that would cause a state of anarchy. And that is not very good for a country. So it is my call that the common man should pay tax, and the governance and the people in authority should also put the tax to proper use.
Mm-hmm. I know the tax debate and the tax and the budget cycle, the budget calendar is something that will be going on and on and on. And as Kivumbi, we are looking forward to engaging in much debate about it, you know. And the question even, I was asking myself, the way that, Bishop, you've put it, you know, how many Kenyans understand that it's an obligation to pay this tax? You know, what can happen to actually help this Kenyan, this Mama Mboga, this boda rider to understand that it is my right to pay tax before I demand for services or even projects from government? You know, what can help?
I think I will agree with Bishop to the extent that we need more civic education to our people, informing them of the benefits of paying taxes, teaching them on what accrue to them when they pay taxes. And also one of the things that could be done better is in partnership with county governments. You will see the county government even collecting taxes from the most nondescript areas. They will reach there and collect that tax, that permit or anything. Yes, the revenue. And that is why you saw there was that concerted push by the president to have one singular payment option for all government services. What that then does is that your data is captured within those systems. So there are going to be means tests that are going to be designed by the tax collection authorities moving forward. What this will do is that it will help the government to know who is able to pay tax. Because the reality is that there are a lot of people who are capable of paying tax, but they're avoiding or evading tax. And you know tax evasion is a felony. Yes, it's not something that people should do. So I think that civic education should be done more. I have seen KRA having service weeks where they go around in buses, but perhaps what they should do is devolve them so that even at the ward level, even in those chief barazas, people are sensitized on the need to pay taxes. I think if we are able to do that more, then we would also considerably expand the dragnet within the country.
And as we said, Kivumbi gives Kenyans an opportunity to discuss topical issues that affect common mwananchi and even the common mwananchi representatives down in the counties, down in the villages, and even down in their homes. You know, we will never get to the end of this debate. And that's why Kivumbi is here to always give a voice to the voiceless. I'll call on the bishop. No, the bishop will come last. Yes. Seth, yes. I'll give you an opportunity to give the parting shot. Huh? You know, this is a country we've discussed a lot of things. You know, based on all the debate that we've had, that parting shot.
Thank you, Wycliffe. I think as a country, we have made a lot of milestones to get to where we are today. At any given point, being a state should be one of the factors that unifies us. That in what we say, in how we relate as people, in our political rallies, or even within our political spaces, we ensure that that which we say brings us together. And I have seen the president lead from the front, that even as we speak in Kivumbi here, there are vigorous campaigns that are going on for the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Raila Odinga, to be the chairperson of the AUC. And so you see the president is able to rise above petty politics, regional politics, and say that if there is a son of the soil deserving of any position, let it be on merit, let it be because this person deserves that position. So moving forward, what I would urge our leaders is that let us be careful in our talk. Let us know that as elected leaders or even as leaders, opinion leaders within regions, what we say has a lot of weight. So let us be guarded in our talk, and let us at any given moment ensure that we put the needs of our people, the needs of the nation above our personal needs.
Thank you very much, Wakili Thukumu. Now, Askofu Charles Kokombo.
Our role is basically to do oversight as the church. And this we have really tried to do, except some times back, the church was like left her role, but we are bringing the church back to do her role. Our president really tries to do everything good by so doing the regional balancing in many things that he does, and for that we give him a thumbs up. But we are calling on the team and the other team, the teams that are working with the government and the opposition, that they need to be sober. Somebody needs to understand what they do, and they do it appropriately for the benefit of the common men that actually elected them to the offices. The electorates are waiting for delivery of services, and there were many deliverables that these people promised. I would urge the leaders to always be on toes to fulfill the promises as given during campaigning periods. Also, the common man needs to be sober, as we understand that we have a long way to just go and do the next election. And now what we need most is not high-level politics, but we need delivery of services. So the advisors of all the groups also needs to be sober, and we shall click it as Kenyans. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Askofu, and thank you very much, Wakili Thukumu, Askofu Charles Kokombo. It has been Kivumbi coming to you live from Dunga Beach. A much appreciation to the Dunga Lakeside Resort that has been hosting us for various shows. And for those who want to enjoy the touch of Kisumu, the touch of Lakeside, you know, always Dunga Resort will be offering that. We are looking forward to another debate, and I hope that we'll have a second part of this. Thukumu and Askofu, I know there are things we are looking forward to discussing and hoping it helps change the livelihood, and it also changes the perception of the commoners and the leaders, those who are in authority. I've been your host, Odera Wycliffe, and on behalf of the production team, I'll say thank you till we meet again. Asante. Good. It has been raw.